for me, transformational leadership is really about creating the future. Yeah, transformation isn't just change, right? It's really when the old doesn't no longer exist and the new isn't yet there yet, right? It's a sort of this in-between stage, right? We think about change. Change is continuous. Change happens all the time. Like you've already changed 3 times since breakfast in the words of Alice in Wonderland. But transformation is when something stops and the system doesn't really support the existing reality anymore, but the new one isn't there yet. And in between is this liminal space, right, that we find ourselves in right now, where we realize that a lot of our systems are not actually serving us anymore, but the new systems aren't quite there yet. And in this in-between stage, this liminal space, and people typically react to this liminal space in 3 ways. Either they want to go back, right, to some imagined past, right, because most of the time it's not the actual past, but it's some glorified version of it, and they're trying to go back to it somehow. Then there's a majority in the middle. The majority in the middle essentially just hangs out and says, okay, I'm just going to wait and see what happens, and someone's going to tell me what to do, and they're waiting for someone else to lead. And then there's those who are willing to step up, right, willing to actually lead the future. Right? And this is where transformational leaders are those who step up and in that moment actively create the future, right? Because it's also an opportunity when everything is open and you don't really know what the future is going to look like. That's the best moment to say, I want it to look like this, and actively create this. Right? And for me, transformation leaders come in very different forms. There's artists who are storytellers and world builders and create new narratives about what it means to be human in this new world. Right? Then you have entrepreneurs who are anticipating these changes and are building solutions for the future. Then you have corporate catalysts, corporate change makers, and entrepreneurs who see that and say, hey, let's make this mass market and actually reach the early majority so we can really scale what's going on there. Then you have sort of activists, people that make sure that we have the guidelines and guardrails for this new future, and we're anticipating potential dangers there and making sure that we kind of stay inside of a new box. Right? And then you have people like myself and some of you as well, who work with the personal transformation that's required, that always is there when you have systemic transformation. But your job is essentially threefold, right? On the one hand, you have to innovate new narratives, new regenerative systems, new solutions for the world, right? Build those new systems. And that's the one on the surface, right? In the end, it's about creating this future, creating those new systems. But then you also have to do this together, right? Because you can't do this by yourself. So you have to create cultures of innovation around you, right? Inspire others with this purpose of this future that you're seeing, so that they can autonomously and authentically, from their own self-directed doing, also create new systems. Right? And then the last part is you, right? Because you also have to build resilience, right? Because making innovation happen requires a lot of stamina. Right? I think all of you know what it's like to be outside of the normal system, and it's difficult, right? You have to keep finding new ways to connect to the system somehow, right? So that you can sustain yourself and keep doing the work that you're doing out there, right? So it's important that you build resilience as well, which is why we always say that extreme performance requires extreme self-care, right? Because you're not just a builder of what's to come, you're also a prototype, right? A living prototype. And part of that is prototyping how you want to live in the future. And if you're doing this all stressed out and freaked out and anxious all the time, that's not the kind of future you want to create. Right? So remember that you are a prototype, you are the future, and it actually begins with you.